All right, if you're a technical leader, you already know that your team's code is the absolute bedrock of your product. But here's the real question. How do you know for sure that bedrock is solid? How do you know it isn't quietly cracking right under the surface? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build a practical guide to the one process that can make all the difference: code review. So let me just ask you this straight up. What's the biggest hidden threat to your project's success? And I'll give you a hint. It's probably not missed deadlines or scope creep, not directly anyway. The real threat is quieter. It kind of builds up over time, and it lives deep inside your code base. And that threat? Well, it's the cost of neglect. You see, when we don't have a systematic way to review our code, we're basically inviting massive risk into our projects. And this isn't some abstract technical problem. This is risk that hits your budget, your timeline, and yeah, even your team's morale. Just look at how this plays out. It's like a domino effect. Lower code quality, well, that just means more bugs. A lack of knowledge sharing, that creates these dangerous silos where only one person understands a critical part of the system. What happens when they go on vacation? This all leads to super expensive rework and technical debt. And let's be clear, these aren't just tech problems. Nope, these are business problems that land right on your desk. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. There is a clear path to avoiding all of these risks and building a real culture of excellence. And that path is paved with effective code review. And I want to be clear, this is not about adding bureaucracy. It's about embedding quality into your process right from the very beginning. And this slide just illustrates it perfectly. It's the two roads you can take. On one side, you have the cost of neglect, which leads to this whole cascade of negative outcomes. But when you embrace review, you literally transform those risks into rewards. You get fewer defects, a team that actually shares knowledge and grows together, and consistent standards that make your code predictable. You can even make sure you're hitting those regulatory compliance needs. It's a huge shift from reactive firefighting to proactively building quality. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the why. Now let's get super clear on the what. What exactly is code review when we get down to brass tacks? At its heart, this is it. But the key phrase here, the one I really want you to focus on, is systematic practice. This is not a casual glance over someone's shoulder. No, it's a deliberate, structured process with one very clear goal: improve quality by catching issues before they ever get to your customers. And remember, it is not a one-size-fits-all thing. You've got options. Peer review is definitely the most common, but you might also bring in a specialist, like a security expert, for a really focused review on some sensitive code. And then you've got pair programming, which is kind of like a continuous, real-time code review. The right choice really just depends on your team and what the project needs. So, to make these reviews really, truly effective, your team needs a framework. They need to know what they're looking for. A great review goes so much further than just spotting typos. It's a structured look at the key areas that actually define what quality code is. Think of this as your quality checklist. First, functional. Simple question. Does it work? Does it do what it's supposed to do? Second, structural. Is the design solid, or is it a house of cards just waiting to fall over? This one directly impacts your future maintenance costs. Third, readability. Can a brand new person on your team understand this code? If the answer is no, you've got a future bottleneck that's going to slow everybody down. Are the tests correct? And finally, what are the hidden implications? Is there some lurking security vulnerability or performance issue hiding in there? A great review looks at all of these layers. Knowing what to look for is half the battle. Now, let's actually turn that framework into a practical playbook for your team, a process they can repeat for success over and over again. Here are 3 actionable tips you can literally start using tomorrow. First, use a checklist. Base it on those quality areas we just talked about. That ensures consistency. Second, automate everything you can first. Let the tools, let the robots catch the simple mistakes so your team can focus their brainpower on the hard stuff. It saves everybody time and energy. And third, use dedicated tools to make the review process fit smoothly right into your existing workflow. But here's the thing, tools and checklists will only get you so far. The single most important factor for success, and I mean this, is the human element. You have to cultivate a culture of constructive, psychologically safe feedback. Because without that, the best process in the world is gonna fail. And this right here, this is the golden rule. It is the absolute foundation of a healthy review culture. The feedback is about the code. It's about the artifact. It is never a judgment on the person who wrote it. Getting this right is the difference between building trust and creating a culture of fear. As a leader, it's your job to coach this. You can see the difference here, right? Avoid blaming language like, why did you do this? Instead, you want to frame feedback collaboratively. So instead of, this is confusing, you could try something like, hey, I had a little trouble following the logic here. How can we make this clearer for the next person who comes along? The goal is always, always collective ownership of quality, not pointing fingers. So I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. Is your team just shipping code? Just pushing features out the door as fast as they can? Or are they consciously, systematically building a legacy of quality? One that's going to serve your product, your customers, and your company for years to come. The choice and the process to get there is yours.